Viewers at home, you're welcome to the platform. My name is Olaolu from Silva, the anchor of the platform. With me today on this program is Barrister Yusuf Olaolu Ali San. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sheyi.
As a Nigerian, do you have any fears on the future of Nigeria?
Well, I'm almost an incurable optimist. I always believe that even when we get to the brink, the mighty hands of Allah will pull us back. I've always believed that our capacity to absorb even the extraordinary as a people is so massive. And I just remember telling somebody today that we've gone a long way. I was listening to a program on television recording, and the person who was speaking is I think is the chairman of the Mile 2 market in Lagos. I couldn't believe the man was a northerner. His accent, everything laden with, is like a Yoruba man speaking. So, which tells us that we have gone a long way. There have a lot of intermarriages, friendships across all over the places. I believe that, yes, we've had our problems and we still have a few problems. I believe that the ability to pull together is stronger than the ability to pull asunder.
All right, sir. Looking at the rate at which youths involved in all kind of vices, what is the way out, and what do you think is the cause of this, and what is the way out?
The causes are many. The breakdown of the family system, breakdown of societal values, and excessive exposure to negative social media outlets. Of course, peer group. We've had instances of boys of less than 20 who killed a girl because they wanted to do money ritual, and the reason they gave was that they saw it on social media that they could do it. So, and then the family system, in the good old days, we were more communal. We were our neighbors' keepers, our neighbors' brothers. We are losing all these. We are becoming more centric, more individualistic, more myopic. So that if your neighbor's son or daughter does something now, you just don't worry yourself. Whereas in the good old days, everybody in the street, in the village, they thought they had responsibility for each member of the village or the community. That's not anymore. And of course, the breakdown of family system, a father who steals government money, what morals is he sending to the children? And then this get quick craze that is all over the places is not assisting us. So our youths are exposed to more negative tendencies than the positive ones. And the role models they find in society are people who made whatever names they have made by crooked means, most of them. So it's very alluring, it's very inviting to them to also try to cut corners and do shortcuts to make money.
So what is the way out, sir?
The way out is we should rediscover ourselves. We should go back to basics. The moral fabric of the society must be restored. Leaders must lead by example, not by precepts. Parents must be alive to their responsibilities as good parents, not parents who encourage their children to go and buy question marks in advance of an exam, or who aid their children to do examination malpractices. So the parents must be alive to their responsibilities. They must know that they are the moral compass for their children, and they must be good examples and good exemplars to their children. And then, of course, the government must do its own side. Youth unemployment, youth underemployment, we must address it. From the time we were all young, we were told that the idle hands is the workshop for the devil. So, and then of course, there is no society that gives unabated freedom. There is no freedom without limitations. It's high time government intervenes on the exposure to social media. You can do it by age. For example, if you are less than 18, like you sell alcohol to people, you don't sell alcohol to people who are less than 16 or 18. The same thing. We must also ensure that people who are less than a particular age are not exposed to most of these negative social media outlets.
When do you think the son of a nobody will become somebody in this country? I ask because of the way the presidency of this country has become so monetized again for the richest.
Well, we have to separate the thing, politics and other things. I don't think it's difficult for children of nobodies to become somebody in the professions. For example, you pay your dues, you are hardworking, you are focused. I remember I was saying this at an event, that if God, that people like us, we are children of nobodies. So if God could bring us out from nothingness to something, there's hope for a lot of other people too. So in the professions, in the normal services, there is a lot of hope. Well, monetization of our politics. Let me first of all admit that politics anywhere is about money. But the way we spend our own here is to buy votes. That is the negative problem about it. In other places, in America, they also spend a lot of money, but it's to canvass, to do advertisement, to do this. Our own is to buy votes, buy those who conduct elections, buy security agents, which are the negative things that money are being used for here. So, as far as I want to say that the negative monetization of our politics must stop. Otherwise, we will remain in the woods for a long time. And, you know, it's also possible once in a while you have 1, 2 unknown persons, so to say, who are able to cross over in the political arena. But we should just encourage more people who have the talent and who have the integrity to come into the open, to be part of the political process.
Okay. We have very few agents, or call them party stalwarts, who go to conventions to determine who becomes the presidential...
The delegates.
The delegates. Now, do you think the way these people go about it, making choices for over 200 million Nigerians, do you think there's need for review of this?
Well, not all of us cannot belong to political parties. I think our focus should be more on the electorate. How do we sensitize, educate the electorate not to sell their franchise, not to sell their votes? The only few people will elect at the party level, only few of them will elect their candidates. But when it comes to general elections, that is where we need to appeal to ourselves. That's we need to educate ourselves. That's the area we have to sensitize our people, that every time you sell your vote, you are selling the future of your children and grandchildren. I think that's the point. And that once you sell your vote, you won't have the moral or political right to question those who are our leaders or our rulers, who emerge through the political process, because you have a moral burden. You have collected money for your vote, so you can't take them to account. So I think that's the thing.
Okay, are you trying to say that in the choice of who becomes president, we should emphasize the political parties but face the individual? Yes,
we should insist that political parties must produce people of character, and a political party that does not produce people of character, we should show our power by not voting for such persons. That is the point I'm making.
Okay, as a lawyer by profession, do you think lawyers work according to conscience? Or do lawyers have conscience?
Most lawyers do have consciences. Most lawyers do work ethically. But in any society, you have a few bad eggs whose acts and actions will tend to negative the good work of the others. But I can tell you that it's preponderance of good lawyers who practice by the rules than the bad ones.
Okay. I asked that question because when we hear of known criminals, and some lawyer will still come up in their defense.
Now, that is the mistake of lay people when it comes to the practice of the profession. Even the most notorious scoundrel has to be defended because he has a right under the law. One, the Constitution says you are presumed innocent until you are proved guilty by a court of law. So you cannot rely on mob judgment to do justice. In fact, when you practice mob judgment, you are causing a lot of injustice. Now, can anyone tell me that every person who had been lynched for either robbery or other offenses were actually guilty? So the danger in jungle justice is that a lot of innocent souls will be dealt with unjustly. And when you are charged to court, once you are defended, it doesn't mean you are going to get out free. If those who take you to court are able to marshal the facts to match the law, you will be gone. So for me, what we have to play emphasis on is proper investigation of crimes by the relevant agencies of government, and then proper prosecution before the courts by those who are charged with the responsibility of prosecution. Okay. But to say that anybody who has been accused of something, and because people feel rightly or wrongly in the society that he has committed the offense, that he should not be defended, then we will be descending into the abyss of injustice, of might is right. It means then that if my neighbor offends me, I can then throw a collar of crime on his neck and expect people to just summarily deal with him, even when it is not true.
Okay. Do you subscribe to constitutional reform in Nigeria?
Any day, anywhere, even marriages. Sometimes you renegotiate your marriage with your wives. So it's the same. A constitution is not a holy book. Exigency, as you practice, as you implement and use the provision of the constitution, new things will come that will make you to say, okay, let's tamper with this, let's look at this. So the constitution is not the Quran that you cannot edit. No. So that is very essence that it's a human document and is liable to a lot of errors which will be corrected going forward.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Da Silva.
Yes, sir.
My pleasure.